you know how misunderstandings can impact your life. The frustration that comes from misunderstandings takes up so much brain space. Whether you're introverted or extroverted, we all need each other. You can roll credits and then at the end put, "Thank you, Sean Medin, for all your help." All right, we move on. Clean slate. I mean, that's what I'm sorry is. Hello, and we are back for another episode of Welcome to the Medins. Man, as each one kind of comes and goes, it's like, wow, I can't believe I'm doing this. And I know you guys are probably saying, hey, yeah, you're kind of acting a little bit like a amateur, still being as excited and nervous about these things. But, I mean, I've heard for years I have a voice for radio, and so this is kind of my chance to get to practice that, develop my ability to kind of talk off the cuff as well as do some prepared topics as well. This one's kind of a combination of the two because it's something I've been thinking about for a while. And the reason why is because, I've been married for over 5 years now. And also coming from a large family, you run into this a lot. And that is misunderstandings. And anyone who's married, anyone who is in any form of relationship at all, whether it be you have siblings, you have parents, grandparents, cousins, aunts, uncles, friends, coworkers, marriage. So this covers everybody. You know how misunderstandings can impact your life. And the funny thing is, we don't often know about misunderstandings. We have assumed ideas of what someone's intent was or what someone's meaning was behind something they did or something that they said. So this has been on the top of my mind as I've been purposefully working on growing and developing my marriage with my absolutely beautiful bride, Michaela Medin. And there are so many areas in our lives where we could honestly have one misunderstanding after another. And we do have them. But in the process of purposefully building my marriage, I've been taking the time to kind of reflect on conversations, both in like my own alone time as well as in time with her, as I've been working how to navigate these conversations to make sure that from those conversations don't stem more misunderstandings and more hurt feelings. Sorry about that. I'm wanting to eliminate as many misunderstandings and clear things up as much as I can to enable us to be able to continue to work into a closer unity in our marriage, in our parenting, in the mission that we're both after, in the purposes in our lives. Because the frustration that comes from misunderstandings takes up so much brain space. At least for me, it may be different for you. You might actually be better at handling that frustration than I am. But me, I'm still having to learn a lot about how to handle that appropriately. And appropriately, I mean just not letting it bother me as much. But and wanting to eliminate the brain, like that stuff, so I have freer brain space. And I've talked about that before. Freer brain space to be able to be creative, be able to think and see opportunities to be more helpful, more loving, more caring, just be a better parent, be a better husband, be a better friend, a better brother, a better son, a better colleague, whatever it may be. I don't want the frustrations that come from misunderstandings to occupy any amount of my brain space. So I'm free as can be to do all those other things better. And kind of what brought this up, of course, misunderstandings, but the scripture that is, let me look it up so I make sure I get the reference correct. You guys see me do this before. I have to pull out my phone in the middle of one of these. It be in your control, be at peace with men. Okay. There we go. Go back. Get that. All right, maybe not. Romans 12:18. So let me get there myself. I was just an Acts. Okay. Romans 12:18. If it is possible, as much as depends on you, so your side of every relationship equation, live peaceably with all men, and it would also include women in that. So any person in a relationship you're with, as far as it be in your part of the equation, your part of the relationship, be at peace with them. And with misunderstandings leading to, family splits where family members won't talk to each other for years, if not for the rest of life, because of a misunderstanding, or divorces happening as a result, or kids running away as a result of a misunderstanding between them and their parent. I want to kind of help talk that out a little bit more and encourage, as much for me as for you, help encourage the pursuit of figuring out what those misunderstandings are and talking through them with an open heart and mind to receive the truth of what the person that you misunderstood was actually saying versus what you thought you heard, and lead to a healing of relationships versus the split up or all out end of relationships due to that. Because we're all here for the sake of being in a relationship with one another. People don't do too hot on their own. Now I know there's introverts and extroverts, but whether you're introverted or extroverted, we all need each other, and we all need to be in relationship and in communication with each other to be able to grow, to be able to be at peace, to be able to feel kind of more purpose in our lives, more like quality of life satisfaction. So, in marriage, I've had my fair share of misunderstandings. My wife and I talking about the topic of parenting, where my heart has been, I want to help my children become the very best versions of themselves and get farther in life than I will. The methodologies of parenting sometimes look different, but the outcome is the same. And in some of those discussions, whether it be I was hot-headed or I didn't know how to accurately communicate the idea of what my end goal was, and the way I want to get there, it has led to kind of marital tensions at different points in time. So these are the examples. And how many of you all watch movies? I'd imagine everyone does. I know I've met my fair share of people in life who are like, yeah, I don't waste my time on that. That's fine. You probably read books or you watch shows. A big driver for the stories in those things are misunderstandings that lead to those tensions in relationships, especially in like dramas and rom-coms and things like that. I don't know if it's just me, but do you ever find yourself going, I see what the point is, but obviously these characters are scripted not to understand, but they don't understand. I wish they would just talk it out and like really communicate what they're thinking and what they're feeling to come to this common ground and this place of understanding each other. And it would honestly shorten the movie from like 2 hours to 30 minutes. Now, would that be good for the cinema industry? Probably not. But for the relationships themselves in the movies, it would be good to like step back from the frustrations and they said this and this is what they meant, but going, they said this is how I took it. What was their actual heart and meaning behind what it is they said? And I'm always going, like, it'd be so easy, honestly. Like, I should be in this movie. I'd clear things up in like a few seconds. Everyone would be good. All of a sudden, the kiss, the hug, the relationship would be healed. The family would be back together. You can roll credits, and then at the end, put, "Thank you, Sean Medin, for all your help." After some time of watching movies with my wife and both of us going like, "Oh my goodness, it is so clear what is happening here," I sort of think, how much does that happen for me, where my wife and I get so frustrated with each other and neither of us are looking at that event almost like a movie and going, "Hey, I wish that we would just talk to each other," versus sit in this place of assumption, which um, I all of you, or I think a lot of people know what assume means, is that it makes a but out of you and me, versus moving out of assumption and getting to the place of clarification. Be like, this is what I think you meant. What did you actually mean? What was the heart behind this that you're trying to convey here that maybe wasn't conveyed in the most accurate or respectful or honoring way? I know, and often for families and marriages, right, a husband desires the best for his wife, a wife desires the best for her husband. A parent desires the best for their child, and I would imagine the child, at least me being a kid, I always wanted the best for my parents. So, and vice versa. Siblings, I always want the best for my siblings. I know they always want the best for me. Friendships, I always want the best for my friends, and I imagine they always want the best for me. So, with that heart being behind every kind of communication, why do we let ourselves get to that place of they must have meant something bad, if the heart, the very center of the relationship, is love and care, versus um, discord and hatred, you know? So then breaking it down from that point, all the frustrations that I've experienced personally, whether it be between my siblings or my parents or my wife or friends at times, if I opened up my mind in those moments where I could identify I'm starting to get frustrated, so now I'm starting to make assumptions that are the wrongful ideas of what people are saying. If I took the time to identify that feeling coming in and stopping myself from even letting myself believe the lies for a second, what would the better outcome of this conversation be? If I was like, hold up, sorry, here we are, I'm getting frustrated, it looks and sounds like you're getting frustrated too. This is what you're saying. This is what I'm hearing. Or this is what I'm hearing, and this is what I think you're saying. What are you actually trying to convey to me? Could you explain it in a different way, please? And then working together to get to that common ground, back to the reality of, no, I want the best for you, versus I'm trying to screw up your life right now and be super selfish. Now, we are human and we make mistakes. And so then if you give that understanding, both sides of the equation, that we're both imperfect, but desiring a better outcome closer to perfection for each other, what do we need to do to fix this space? So that way we don't end up with a broken friendship, we don't end up with a broken family, we don't end up with a broken marriage, we don't end up with, broken whatever it may be, discord in the workplace. I mean, that honestly is one of the worst things, because it's a place you spend a lot of your time. How could that change everything? Like, looking back, You could even right now go and repair some of those relationships by going, hey, here's a moment where I saw things went awry for us. And maybe it was smaller things leading up to that final breaking moment. Here's my heart. Here was my heart at that time. Here's what I was trying to say. Can you help me understand yours? Rather than throwing out accusations, seeking understanding through asking questions. I feel like that would lead to so many better relationships all around whatever area, so I don't have to keep listing off the same list the whole entire episode. How could that change the whole structure and culture of your family or your workplace team, whatever it may be? Because then why waste the time to that? I mean, time is so important. Why let that be wasted that you could have had with your dad? You could have with your mom or your brother, your sister, or this friend, or a former spouse, or even worse, like your child. All this time that you could have had with your child that was now lost due to a misunderstanding. Right? We are all only allotted a certain amount of time here on earth that could honestly close in a minute. Like you get in a car, who knows you're getting to destination B due to some incident along the journey from point A to point B. I don't know. But more often, and we see this a lot in movies, but we see it a lot in real life too, is you find people going, I didn't have time. Why did I let this happen? So if you're alive and breathing, why are you letting it happen? Maybe now is the time to go fix it, because you already lost time. You can make up for that and use what time you have left to better the relationship. I was hurt too bad. There might have been a misunderstanding there. You thought you were hurt. And yeah, you dealt with the emotions of that. But what if the truth was not the intent to hurt, but the intent to help? I don't know. Again, this is thinking out loud and something that's been going through my head for quite a while. Like, I want to have the very best relationship with my wife for whatever time I have here on earth. I don't want any of it being wasted on being angry or sad or feeling hurt about something when I know the truth of the actual truth of the matter. If every time I sat down to think about it is, she loves me, she wants the best for me. What is she actually trying to say? Versus what am I thinking she said? I want the best for my children, and I don't want to waste a moment having them be gone because of something dumb I said or because of something ridiculous I thought they meant. I want to clarify that. Same with my parents, grandparents, my siblings. Not at any point in my life do I ever want to look back and go, I lost time because I was too stubborn and unwilling to seek the truth because I wanted to sit in my hurt. And hurt is comforting, right? It's like being snuggled up in bed, but with a lot more pain. In the morning when your alarm goes off and you want to slap that thing and just say no 5 more minutes. Pain is kind of comforting. Anger, sadness, it's like the easiest emotions to go to, which is so sad that it's easier to be angry and sad than it is necessarily to be happy. But do you feel as good residing in that, abiding in anger and sadness and pain, as you do in the moments that you're absolutely happy? Like, wouldn't you rather sit and abide in joy and peace and love? Right? At least I would rather reside there and reside in that as often and as much as I can, as much of my life as possible. And a lot of that can be avoided through seeking understanding, apologizing and forgiving. And another important lesson I've learned in marriage, apart from seeking understanding rather than assuming the worst, is being willing to say I'm sorry, even if I knew, like I know that I know that I know that I'm right. Being willing to say sorry and forgive, so that way I can be free of all that junk that would desire to then kind of slowly bog me down to a point of more or less being an empty shell that is on autopilot from the moment I let it set in to the moment that I finally kick it and hit and like get buried in the grave, you know? That doesn't sound like much of a life to me. Like, it sounds really sucky, actually, and not worth spending any time on. Now, there's processing the emotions in it. Yeah, I talked about that in the last episode, is working on processing my emotions. But processing it with people that love me and want the best for me, and remembering that is the case in those relationships. Now, some of you came from bad backgrounds, and maybe you didn't necessarily, it was never fully communicated, I desire the best for you. In those circumstances, those definitely need some more navigation that's easier than like a plug and play solution. That I would love to talk about. Again, if you have questions, feel free to ask, and together we can go through those in these episodes to kind of address different things, or eventually one day look at like more of a personal one-on-one conversation. You know, we could do that too as I work things out here. But in the Medins, one of the things that my parents emphasized in us growing up was that we would be unoffendable. Because life is so much more fun when you don't hold on to offenses. Because then you can just keep going from good situation to bad, to good, to good, to good, to bad, to bad, to bad, to good, to good. You know, whatever that cadence may be of different circumstantial definitions of good and bad. Because there's never anything that ties me back to the bad one that keeps me from being able to move forward. It's like, oh, let me throw one more chain on the backpack just to make that load a little bit heavier as I try to now trudge more so than walk to the next situation. Like, I don't have any weights from the past because I didn't let any of them set in as offenses that I wanted to hold on to. In situations, I've had to forgive without the person ever saying sorry. In situations, the person said, I'm sorry, and I was able to forgive, and it was, all right, we move on, clean slate. I mean, that's what I'm sorry is the desire and the ask, hey, can we just white out everything? And being like, yeah, that's fine. Now you got a clean canvas. We can go forward like it never happened. Now, did it happen? Yeah. But do you need to hold on to it? No. And your life will be so much better. I think about people who have left churches because of offenses, and then they have this poor view of God because the church hurt me. Well, that shouldn't reflect poorly on God. That should reflect poorly on the sinners who made the mistake, and not skew your view of God. God is gracious and all loving. Yeah, but bad things have happened. Well, what was the love in those situations? Was it training and development? I don't know. Again, questions you guys could ask, and I can work to try to address and talk through. Please be kind in the comments. Again, this is family-friendly entertainment. But I want to be helpful as well. And I'll bring in different family members or friends or experts that I can get a hold of to come and talk about this stuff. On top of having fun conversations like the unscripted one with PJ and Daniel. You know, it's this mix and mash of, I want to be this helpful environment that you guys can come to get wisdom and advice and insights into life and family, marriage, parenting, entrepreneurship, music, ministry, arts, whatever it may be, because there's a wide variety of interests in the Medin family / Greenwood / Lexfold / soon to be Gilberts. Actually, as of last week, Gilberts too. Since Deborah got married, yay! But back to the overall topic. I realize I kind of went on some rabbit trails. You guys should be used to that by now. Seek understanding to remove misunderstanding. Enable the space and the environment for healing and better relationship development. Because, I mean, just be honest. Why is it worth holding on to offense? Why is it worth holding on to the pain? Why is it worth holding on to the misunderstanding? I was wronged. Okay, do you want to keep being wronged? Or would you like everything to get better? Honest question. And again, everyone has dealt with different levels of hurt that we'd want to address, of course. But for now, let's start with that question. Why hold on to it when there is a way to move forward? Now, it's not copy-paste way to move forward. It's individualized to each person. That's the cool thing about God is he meets each of us where we're at to help us move forward, to be able to move forward. But we get there by then gaining the curiosity and starting to ask the questions versus making the demands and the statements. Food for thought. So, if you'd like to keep up these conversations and hearing these crazy thoughts and ideas and processes, hit the subscribe button to Welcome to the Medins and press that little bell so you get notified for our weekly episode release. And then go like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. I mean, there you guys can DM us, you can comment, do whatever you can comment on these videos. Again, keep it nice and respectful. But I want this to continue to be something that you guys hopefully get to look forward to, whether it be serious topics, fun topics, or just kind of random topics. I want this to be a social media gathering place for people to be able to just enjoy the reality of people going through life where it's not Pinteresticized or Instasized or TikToked or whatever, where it looks like everything is all glowy and magical and butterflies and unicorns and candy canes. But it's real life, right? You're living real life. I'm living real life. Let's live real life together here on Welcome to the Medins. So, I look forward to living real life with you next time on Welcome to the Medins.